back, ladies and gentlemen. This is AhTravesty playing some Third Age Total War with the Divide and Conquer submod. Alright, we are now at war with the damn elves to the north here at Galadrim. Currently sieging Tirith Anduin. I think I'm going to grab Kuzama's army and go ahead and counterattack these guys before they get a chance to get into this place. They do have another 3/4 stack back here. We're going to have to try to figure something out to move up there and destroy him. I do have another army up here moving up with General Nawfal. And I have General Patan over here. Although I'd like to reinforce some of these armies with some of these guys that I got moving up. Try to move these guys up as quick as possible and start dealing with these elves. And I'm trying to get a siege force get all together over here at Karandro so we can hit Hanath Anun. It looks like Mordor is going to leave them alone. They got a lot of troops over here, but they're not doing anything. Gondor still has this last stand army over here too. I might just go ahead and attack these guys just to get them out of our hair. One less thing to worry about. And I can push these troops out this way too and maybe get into the fight. Other than that, let's just go ahead and deal with this fight here. Let's go ahead and move up next to these guys.
By your will, your enemies shall fall swiftly.
No general in here. Some of their guys are damaged, it looks like. They do have some Lorien archers, sentries, scouts, some spearmen, Gurdenen, and lancers, and that's about it. Alright, I'm going to leave these guys on AI control. Let's go get them.
Swiftly or slowly, I care not.
Start deployment. And it appears we're on the side of a hill. Okay, well, we might as well grab this high ground up here. They're probably going to start from right here somewhere. And my reinforcements should be coming from over here, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and start up here on top of this hill. Alright, I'm going to redeploy. I'll be right back. Alright, I think we're all set. All my spearmen in front, and my archers, and my cav in the wings, and my general in the rear. Alright, where is he? He's right over here. And all my reinforcements are right there. Alright, let's see if we can move up here. Let's go right over here. And let's set these guys to aggressive. Oh, they're going for my reinforcements over there? Okay. Let's get over here. And let's push out our cavalry and see if we can harass these guys a little bit. Oh, he's going to line up here. He's getting ready to fight those guys. Alright, let's go. Let's go for a speed up. Alright, now he's starting to redirect some stuff over here. Alright, let's just skirmish with these guys here. Alright, I'm going to have to readjust here, it looks like. Let's get these guys right here. Run.
Archers of Harad.
Archers right there. Run. General here. These guys can stand by here. Alright, shoot them up. Alright, let's get back here. Alright, looks like he's sending some of those guys over there toward my reinforcements. Damn, they're shooting the hell out of me here. Alright, let's start rolling into these guys here. You guys move this way. You guys can scoot up. Alright, let's send the cav out there. You guys can go out there with them. Alright, let's keep pushing. Let's get the general over here. Alright, let's send a spearman into those lancers. Let's get in here behind them. Alright, let's see if we can get over here, get a rear charge. Archers are firing. Damn, they're all running around like cockroaches over here. Let's hit the rear of these guys. Alright, let's get these spears over here, help these guys. Actually, let's get into these guys. They just got caught over here. Let's send these guys in. Let's hit the juice. Alright, you guys can get over here. Let's get in here behind them. Let's pull the cav out. Alright, what do we have left here? Alright, let's go right back into these lancers. Let's pull the general back. Alright, let's redirect over here with some of these guys. You guys keep pushing. And we got the leader. Trollman hacked his ass up. Alright, General, let's go right back in. And you guys redirect over here. Alright, what do we got coming up here? Sentries. You guys running into them. Let's get all the cav back here. And you guys can roll in. They just broke. Alright, let's run into these guys. Cavs hauling ass.
Only half the enemy force remains. We must pray they lose their will to
Damn,
fight.
these guys run fast. Alright, here comes the next group. Alright, infantry, line up. Let's run down what we can. Let's send some guys over here, deal with this mess. Alright, let's go into these sentries, get in behind these guys. These are all spearmen over here. Let's see if we can roll into these guys. You guys can come up this way. You guys can flex over here. And these guys just broke. These guys are still fighting. Let's send these guys up here to help them. Alright, let's run these guys down. Here comes my reinforcements. Alright, let's see if we can intercept these guys. You guys come this way. And they're going right for my archers. Let's get out of here. Move over here. And they just broke. They just broke. And they just broke. Alright, we having luck running these guys down? Let's run them guys over. Alright, what do we got over here? Let's run into these guys. Alright. We probably could have taken these guys without these reinforcements.
They run like children.
Alright, I'm gonna run these guys down and end
from
it.
the field. Great victories are like sweet nectar.
Alright, we lost just
let us
over
drink
100
of the
guys.
most
They lost
rare
over
and glorious
1,300.
fruit.
Wow. We did better than I thought we were. Alright, execute them bastards. Alright, now we got this stack over here. And I could probably move this force now. Let's send all these guys this way.
Our enemies will suffer.
Yeah, they can head in there.
Okay,
Okay, and we can send some forces up here. Let's see, how far can these guys move? Right to there. Let's get this force right up here.
Remove. Set watch patrols.
And these guys can come forward.
At once.
And let's see.
How may I serve?
Let's get all these guys together.
Orders.
They might as well join up with them. These guys can move up to on a drift. And what do we got going on here? Let's continue retraining some of these guys. Let's grab everybody except the guys that need to train. There's these guys and these guys. And these guys. Let's move all these guys up north.
We march. We rest here until
Okay.
dawn.
Pulled all those troops out of there. Alright, got +5 command out of the deal.
Orders.
Alright, these guys are moving up.
We move.
These guys
How
are
may I
coming back
serve?
here.
We march.
Alright, these guys done training? Yeah.
Orders.
And let's see here.
How may I serve?
We're still waiting on some catapults down here as well. Alright,
Orders.
I think I'm going to go ahead and finish these guys off. Let's get this force right here next to these guys, and let's go attack these guys here. Ooh,
them honorably.
5 to 7. This might be a little bit more difficult here. Let's go ahead and set these guys to AI control, and let's go.
We shall all find a way to an honorable victory. Our foes for the moment.
Start deployment.
Maybe we can seduce fortune back to our side.
Alright, now I think my reinforcements will come from this far corner over here. Huh. Well, maybe I can start from this end. Those guys can come in from that side. Maybe we can double up on them. Yeah, let's try that. Alright, I'm going to redeploy. I'll be right back. Alright, I think I'm all set up over here on my spearmen and my archers and on my cav. Whew, God, that's a lot of them. They're all lined up. Alright, let's move in over here. And yep, my reinforcements came in from that far corner over there. Alright, let's set those guys to aggressive. And where are they going to go? They're all shifting over here to the center. Let's go for a speed up. Yeah, I want to try to stay on this little bit higher ground right here. Let's go for a speed up. Alright, they're all in disarray over there. Let's go for a pivot. And let's come over here and let's run. Now hopefully my other forces will come over here behind them. Alright, they're starting to unload on us. Alright, let's move up on these guys here. Let's go get them. They're putting a lot of focus over there. Alright, let's roll in while they're in disarray here. You guys can get back here. Archers are opening up. Alright, let's send the cavalry back that way and this way. Alright, you guys can roll in. That's all archer militia right there. You guys go over here. Let's see if we can get into those guys. That's spearmen. Alright, let's get some Red Wrath. Alright, you guys roll into the back of them. Alright, let's run these guys over. Alright, all my reinforcements are closing in. They're shaking. Alright, let's pull this cav out. Let's pull the Beastmasters out. This cav can come out. And let's get these guys out of there. Alright, what do we got here? Militia. Alright, let's go right back into these guys. Alright, let's get over here. See if we can break that militia up over here. Alright, let's see if we can get right behind these guys over here. And let's bring the Beastmasters back this way too. Alright, Beastmasters, let's go into these guys here. And rear charge. Alright, Cav, pull out. Run. Alright, those guys just broke. Let's redirect these guys over here. Let's get right over here. Alright, Cav, come out. Camels, come out. Alright, let's go into these guys. The camels back here. And let's run into these guys. Let's go, spearmen, get into that. Oh shit, that was stupid of me to run into them guys. Those are all spears. Alright, rear charge. You guys go in. Alright, how's my archers doing? They're still unloading. Alright, you guys hit them. Let's run in the rear of them. Let's get some red wrath. Come on, break these bastards. Archers are still doing alright. These guys can come out. Alright, let's pull the camels out. Come on, you guys, get in the damn fight over here. Alright, you guys pull out. Alright, rear charge. Let's go.
Shines on our disgrace.
Archers are still firing.
Ashes instead of victory.
Alright, you guys run in the rear of them. These guys are almost out of ammo. Come on, break these guys.
The enemy are badly bloodied.
Alright, let's pull out.
Their men.
It looks like they're trying to close in on my archers over here. These guys are out of ammo. Let's come over here and help the fight. Alright, you guys pull out. And rear charge. You guys can go that way. And let's charge right back into these guys. Archers can go help them. Let's get these guys up here. Alright, those guys just broke. Let's pull out. Boy, they really want my archers over here. Alright, let's see if we can intercept these guys. Alright, Cav, pull out. Alright, you guys can start hitting these guys over here. You guys hit them. You guys can stand by. Let's go for a rear charge here. Alright, where can we send these guys? What's that? Spearmen. Alright, let's bring this Cav over here. Alright, archers, start firing. Alright, these guys can come out. And let's get to some Cav back here. The Thillian Rangers. We need to get up in this mess here. Let's send these guys in over here. Come on. Damn Gondor spearmen again. Alright, you guys. Let's see if we can break these guys up. And looking at my archers again. Let's get out of there. Cav, pull out. Let's get some red wrath. Alright, Cav, let's go in over here. Let's get these archers over here. Those guys just broke. Alright, let's pull the Cav out. What is this here? Gondor infantry. Alright, let's send spears over here. Cav, pull out. Alright, let's see if we can break these guys up here. You guys get over here. Alright, how are we looking over here? Damn, we get decimated back here. Alright, Cav, let's hit these guys. Damn Gondor infantry is going to be a pain in the ass. Let's go in. Come on. Break these bastards. They're shaking. Alright, let's pull these guys out. These guys.
The enemy has slain our ally. We must look to our allies have fled and scattered to the four winds.
Alright, that was my captain.
We must look to
let's
our
pull these guys
now.
back. Alright, these archers are still firing. Let's get these guys over here. The camels can come out. Alright, let's go right back into these guys. What do we got here? Gondor infantry. Lebanon Marines. You guys can go in. What's over here? Let's run those guys over. Damn. Alright, those guys are broke. Alright, you guys can pull out. Alright, forget them. Let's get back into fight. Let's run into these Marines. Actually, let's get into these guys here. Hit that infantry. And you guys go right back into that infantry. Alright, archers are out of ammo. Let's send them in to fight.
Or we will taste ashes instead of victory.
Alright, let's get some of this cav over here. Alright, you guys can pull out. Alright, let's go in. Camels can pull out. Damn Marines. That's his bodyguard unit right there. Alright, let's go back in. Alright, Cav, pull out of there. Alright, let's see. He's down to 10 in his general. Let's go right into him. Let's send some spears up this way too. Alright, Cav, get out of there.
Units, move out!
Alright, still got 10 left, damn. Alright, let's get up here, help these guys. Alright, General, come over this way. Putting up a hell of a fight, that's for sure. Alright, let's see if we can get in here behind them. If we can take that general out, we might be alright here. Taking a hell of a beating. down to 7. Let's get into these guys. Keep fighting.
Curse the sun that shines on our disgrace. We must turn the wind
It's
of
down to
battle,
7.
or we will taste ashes instead of victory.
Come on. It's down to 3. Down to 2. Let's go for a speed up. He's gonna run for it. What do we got here? Alright, we're gonna have to help some of these guys over here, I think. Let's run into this group. We'll get that general in a little bit. These spears can go into him though. Oh, he wants to come back and fight. Okay, let's go get him then. Go for a speed up. Come on, kill him. Alright, we can split some of these guys off, I think. Let's run into these guys over here. Come on! Finally!
Units, march!
Alright, let's get over here. Let's get in behind these guys over here. Alright, let's pull this cav back.
Spears of Harad.
Alright, how are we looking over here? Let's go into these damn Marines. Actually, let's come this way. Alright, run into these guys. Send the cav in. Those guys just broke. Good. Alright, let's go into these Marines next. They're shaking. Damn, this is going to be a close fight here. They just broke. Alright, redirect into these other guys. Go for a speed up. Alright, let's pull back. Alright, those guys are broke. Those guys are broke. All we have is these spearmen left. Alright, all infantry, get into them. Let's see if we can run down some of these guys real quick.
For the moment,
There we go.
the fickle smile
Whew,
of fortune
God, was that a
shines upon
close one.
us.
I'm going to run these guys down.
Portent of a victory. Great victories are like sweet nectar. Come, let us drink of the most rare and glorious fruit.
Whew, God, what a fight. Lost almost 2,000 guys. They lost over 2,600 though. At least they're done. Execute. Okay, well, at least that's one problem that we have to... One less problem we have to deal with. Alright, let's get all these guys over here, do some training. Alright, we're going to handle the rest of this in the next episode as we are running up on time. Let's go ahead and end her here.